All right, so at this stage, a couple of reminders. I'm going to get rid of that. Whenever you start off editing, the very first thing you do is copy. Before you do anything at all, after you open up that document, I have file opened it, I'm going to copy it. Don't forget, if it's something you are working on from yesterday, it's even easier because you have an open recent. I know exactly the last thing I have done, the thing I did before that, before that, before that, etc. Okay? So I'm going to click off of that, and right here, if I right click, I can duplicate my layer. Keyboard shortcut is Control J, does the same thing. So it just depends on what kind of a memory you have. So I duplicate my layer by right clicking and saying duplicate, and I'm going to call that one my edit layer. So I can just put edit. That way I can say okay, and I know that I have both of these showing. For those of you that are missing some of these menus, there are two things I want you to do. First of all, if you go up to Window, you can slide down to Workspace. You want to make sure you're on Essentials and that you reset them. If you are on anything else, swap over to Essentials, because that means we're going to be in a common workspace. So what you see on my screen will be on your screen as well. So I want to reset those Essentials as need be. I should get my menus back, whatever I'm missing, and if not, I could go to Windows and Layer. Don't forget, I need to see that layering because it's really important for us to be able to track what we're doing and on what layer. Right above the word layers, I can hover. I get that up and down arrow. I can actually drag. Whoop, there we go. I can drag that a little bit bigger. It only goes so much bigger, but I should be able to see both of my layers. A reminder, mine are on really big icons. You can right click on the image and you can make your thumbnails a little bit smaller if you wanted to. For grading purposes, I'm going to ask that there are no smaller than medium, because as you get to some of the small thumbnails, it's really hard for me to see in a screenshot what's there. So right click on the image, and I'm going to put mine at large just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay? So at this stage, just a quick reminder for you, you should have the edit layer active. I have had many students who accidentally are on a background layer, and they're working and they're like, nothing's happening, look at nothing's happening, oh my gosh. Well, guess what? Something is happening. When I turn off my visibility, you can see that I just drew all over my original layer. So you want to be very careful about that. Now, if I Control Z, you can see I get rid of the last thing that I did. If I Control Z again, I get it back and forth. So just a quick reminder, Control Z undoes only the last action, then it redoes it. Undo, redo, undo, redo. So there's Shift Control Z. So I hold my Shift, I hold my Control, and I just tap the letter Z, and I should be able to get that to move backwards. Why are we not moving backwards? Oh, I'm sorry. This is Alt Control Z. Wrong program. Alt Control Z, and I can continue to move backwards. The other thing that I actually do prefer, there we go, is this guy right here. And I have not introduced him yet, but he is your history. Your history are the things that happened before where you are right now. So if that is not there, Window, History. And when I click on that, I can actually make it a little bit bigger so you can see a detailed history of everything that I just did. But it only goes back so many spaces. Okay, it's like you trying to remember when you were 6 months old. You can't remember that. You physically cannot remember that. This only goes back maybe 20, 30 commands. So you don't want to rely on this to get rid of something that you did first thing today. Because at the end of the class period, it's probably no longer here. It also erases after each open and close of Photoshop. So this, if I closed down Photoshop and reopened it, my history would be gone. Okay? So be aware of that. This only lasts for my one work session, and it only lasts for a certain number of steps. Okay? What I do is this. Please, never use this. Never, ever, ever use the garbage function. We do not want to delete anything because if I'll refer back to like thinking about taking away one of your memories, or like, It's a Wonderful Life. He never existed. How would the world have changed? It was awful. This happened and that happened. Same thing here. When you delete from your history, sometimes you corrupt something so much you can no longer get it back. So instead of deleting, what I do is the lowest thing is the most recent. I know we're used to this being the most recent because it's on top, but that's the first thing I did, the second, the third, the fourth, fifth, etc. So I just did the brush tool. If I click on the thing above it, you can see it got rid of that. If I click above that, oh, that's where I want to be. Beautiful, I'm ready to go. I put that back in. I don't delete because whenever I do something else, let me go ahead. I'm just going to pick a random tool. Do we see how it disappeared? It automatically disappears and it overrides it properly. So you're not going to have a problem with having like some kind of corruption in your file because you deleted something. Like I would never want to do this and then hit the delete key. So I can, yes, beautiful, but then it deleted everything in between. And then I go to do something and suddenly it's not working. And now I'm frustrated. We don't want to get you there. So again, never ever use that garbage can. Never delete. Only slowly overwrite and go back one level at a time to figure out where you need to be. Okay? So I am going to, because that's already edited, I'm going to get rid of that one. Again, I'm going to Control J or right click, duplicate, and I'm going to call that edit. Now I'm going to start editing. The two things that I reminded you of yesterday that I really want you to look at with every single light edit are in your image file. So they're in your image function up here. We're going to adjust our levels first. And then we're going to adjust our hue saturation second. And then if needed, we adjust our levels again. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So I'm going to go into my levels. I've got my old pal, my old trusty here called Auto. Again, Auto doesn't always give you what you need, so keep that in mind. You want to hit Auto, you can kind of see what happened. You can then undo it by Control Z, so you know that keyboard shortcut. If you don't, cancel, and then go back into it. Okay, so I undid it, I redid it, undo, redo, redo. And then I can balance using these guys in here and get the proper tonal adjustment for what my aesthetic is. Again, your aesthetic, it's like your viewpoint on something. What should this picture look like at its best? At its best, I feel like it doesn't have enough deep shadow. I really want to pull that up some. But I don't just continue to pull that up to get enough shadow because sometimes it goes really, really, really awry. So I'm going to pull that back. I can then reduce or increase the space between my gray and black. I can brighten up my highlight area and try to enhance this image and make it the best image it possibly can be. Once I'm done with that, I can then image adjustments, hue saturation. Okay? Some of you will oversaturate everything. I will warn you, if you love color, if you love wearing color, if you love color, really pull yourself back a little bit. Because I have students that will submit something like this in. They'll be like, oh, but I love it. You don't love it. Okay, we're looking for the best that this photograph can be. It just came back from vacation. It is rested. It is fabulous. It's ready to go. That's what that photograph should be. This is like my photograph was electrocuted. Okay? So I need you to pull back and restrain a little bit. You can saturate, like this is a +9. On the flip side, you could also desaturate. For example, here, if I wanted to focus more on a pastel finish, I could desaturate and give it a very soft finish. And even more to the extreme, I can actually pull this all the way down and make it a black and white. Black and white alert. Please look. A reminder, when you open it up, you're going to be at zeros. Okay? If you want a black and white, I suggest you come in here to your hue saturation and pull it all the way down. Okay? Now I'm going to put that back at 0 because I want to show you a couple of other things in here. Never touch this. Please, 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 never, never, never. I think I may have touched it one time, and it was only because I was too lazy to go to my other menu and fix it. It is not helpful in this menu, so please stay away from it. It just abnormally brightens or darkens an image. We do that with our levels, okay? But here, you could really, I do not do this. I don't take that and move it completely off to something opposite. Again, it's not very natural. But instead, if I'm back at 0, I may pull it slightly above or slightly below where it's at to slightly warm or cool the feel of that photograph. So in this case, I have it as, let me go into a plus, that right there is a +5. It's the same color, but just slightly enhanced a little bit more. And that was coming from, if I say okay, we're going from, now that we have these on 2 separate menus, or 2 separate layers, sorry, I can turn off my eyeball. That was my before, and that's my after. Before, after. And I can take a look at that. You'd be like, I thought that picture was really cool before, but my after, I'm so excited about it. But now I feel like maybe I need to reduce my saturation. I increased it too much. I'm going to go back here, adjustments, hue saturation. Maybe I want to pull that back right to there because that color got too abrasive for my aesthetic. Okay? Now, black and white alert again. If you're going with the black and white, which I don't want you to do right now, but I want to give you the step, we are going to do black and whites, no worries. You're going to pull that saturation all the way down. It's a bland picture right now. So what I actually need to do after making it a black and white is actually go into my adjustments for my levels again. I go to my levels, I start working with, I don't necessarily want to increase the amount of black, because see how I just get like that big black blob there? But I do want to look at getting a little more detail in here, which I'm struggling with. So I am struggling with getting enough, and there's another tool that I will introduce very shortly that will help you with that. Okay? So I'm going to cancel out of that, and I'm going to go to my history, and that's where I'm at. I go one above that. Oh, that's where I want to be. Use the double arrow, and I put them back. I'm exactly where I want to be right now. Screenshot. When you go to the lower left-hand corner of your keyboard, you're going to see a little window key. It's 4 squares that look like a waving flag. You're going to hold that down, and on the upper right-hand corner of your screen, I'm sorry, not of your screen, of your keyboard, my apologies, you will see a print screen key. I think it's PRN-SCR, something like that. I hold the Windows key, tap the print screen, you'll see it gets grayed out. That has taken a picture of your screen, and it has recorded it for you. That is now recorded under your pictures, under your screenshots, and it will be the highest number screenshot there. You can see I'm on 101, and that's after deleting a bunch. I do need to delete my old ones. That is what I would upload as evidence to Google Classroom. If I cannot see evidence of 2 layers, one renamed, edit, that's edited, and I don't see your picture up here, I cannot give you full credit for this particular part of our introductory process. So again, the screenshot should contain these. It should contain your image and then be uploaded to Google Classroom. Under comments, if it is not your original photograph, please under comments label Google image or Bing image or wherever you got that image from. Stock image, not my picture. Because if I see a fabulous image and I'm like, oh, I want to put that in a contest or show and it's not your picture, I want to know that up front. Even if you edited it, it is not your picture. It's not your photograph. Okay? So for this one, I'm okay if you pick a random one. But from here on out, I would like you to make sure you're editing your own photographs because I would really love to have your pictures in our contest and shows. Okay? So that is all we're going to show today. You're going to go ahead and get going with Photoshop editing and uploading to Google.